What's going on, gamers? It's your boy Richie Bon, the coach of the Colorado Cramorant in the Calyrex Game Corner Draft League, and today I'm bringing you my Week 5 matchup analysis against Krystal and the Aether Paradise Alolachus. This is a matchup that I'm looking forward to. I think it's a pretty evenly matched matchup as far as compositions. I think in terms of like actual VGC record, I'm pretty sure that Krystal has the best record out of the whole league, like period, in official events and like grassroots events and whatnot. So I'm very eager to get to play them. They're a very talented player. But I think as far as our matchup goes with our teams, I think we're pretty even. They do have the current KO leader in the league, which is this MANAPHY that we're looking at right here. It's currently sitting at 16 KOs and 0 knockouts, or 0 deaths, I suppose, if you want to call it that. 16-0 is crazy. And I mean, it's not like this thing is absurdly powerful in the offensive sense, right? It has base 100 stats across the board, but it has a lot of tools that just make it absurdly good. That being said, I think we have a good matchup into it, but like, you know, let's just jump into the analyzing the team, I suppose, and we'll start with MANAPHY because we're here. MANAPHY was their first pick, and I was very excited to run stuff like MANAPHY, Mew, and Dorachi in this league because when do you get to see them in VGC? The answer is never. And I don't think that, I mean, I might end up regretting saying this, and over the course of the league, it's a little questionable, but I don't think MANAPHY, Dorachi, or Mew are that overpowered, personally. I think a lot of other people who run leagues in the BDSP format might disagree, but like, it's base 100s, right? They're good for sure, but are they better than all the other A tiers? I don't know. I kind of don't think so, but we'll have to wait and find out. MANAPHY is a little notorious for it, not a signature move, but kind of its signature move, Tail Glow. It immediately gets a +3 bonus to its special attack stat, which is crazy because its special attack like isn't that great, but like you don't have to invest at all, right? And then you get a 2.5 times boost just for pressing a button once. And with the allied support that is here, you definitely get the chance to do that. That being said, I'm not sure. I think Krystal ran Tail Glow maybe like 1 week, so I don't even know if that's gonna end up showing up in our match. It gets really good coverage. Like you could run it physically if you wanted, but it doesn't get good physical coverage. But special coverage is great. As a water type, it gets ice moves, it gets grass moves, which is rare, it gets dazzling gleam, which is good, and it gets psychic and shadow ball. Like these ones right here are just great. You can easily just be prepared for like any sort of matchup with these moves that are available here. So this is a great ace for this team. They also drafted Dorachi. Dorachi was not their second pick, but Dorachi showed up later in the draft. I think they were around 10 actually, and it's very similar. Base 100 across the board. It's a different typing. Again, you can run this physical or special. It has a signature move. Is Doom Desire physical? I don't know if you'd run it because it's like Future Sight. It's special. It's really strong. 140. I didn't know it was that strong. This is just a good mon. It did lose Iron Head in this game, so if everyone's thinking like, oh no, Serene Grace, like Iron Head flinching, it won't be an option for this game. As you can see, it's illegal. But it's just a really good Steel Psychic type mon in general. It's like a well-rounded Metagross kind of with way more coverage, if you want to think of it that way. Because like, yeah, look at these options. This is a lot of stuff. This is just on the special side too, right? You could easily run a physical set if you wanted. So I'm not sure if Dorachi's going to show up, but anywho. Up next is Raichu. Raichu is Krystal's signature. We knew that Krystal was going to draft Raichu, but we just weren't sure when. Turns out it was round 2. Static and Lightning Rod are both great abilities. You get stuff like Fake Out, you get stuff like Nuzzle, you get stuff like Helping Hand. Oh, not in this game, actually, no Helping Hand. I mean, you get a bunch of support options, is what I'm saying. Both like attacking support moves and like strictly support status moves as well. I think this is pretty likely to show up against me, but we'll see. It's just a good mon. It has good stuff. It can do all sorts of cool things. I don't know how often Krystal's brought it. I want to say maybe to 1 or 2 games. I'm not sure. Here's Moltres. I wasn't sold on Moltres originally, but looking at it and after hearing Krystal's argument for it, it's really bulky. Krystal said that in a format without Incineroar, Moltres is the next best thing, and I'm like, you're kind of right. This bulk is like really good. I mean, it's a fire flying type, which isn't quite as good as the fire dark type in terms of bulkiness, but I'm not looking at Houndoom. I'm talking about Incineroar. It's pretty good. It's pretty powerful as well. 125 special attack is great. It could be a little bit faster, but I think for its purposes on this team, it's really, really good. Something I neglected to mention about Raichu. It benefits MANAPHY and Moltres a lot with that Lightning Rod. That helps both these mons quite a bit. Moltres is probably the most threatening mon into the team that I'm planning on bringing, but I also have answers to it, so we'll see how that goes. Tangrowth is a nuisance. It's one of the best, if not the best redirector. It has great abilities. Regenerator is probably the one that we're going to see. It's really just all about Rage Powder. Like Rage Powder, Leaf Storm, Protect, and Sleep Powder could like That's just the set. Like you can just run that and you're fine. You can take a bunch of hits, you can throw out a Leaf Storm, and then your attack is dropped, your HP is low, you switch. You know, you get your special attack back, and then with the regenerator tops off your health a little bit. It's very bulky and not on the special side, so it's a little exploited there, especially considering that there's no assault vest in this format. It does have a weakness, but I'll have to very carefully target that weakness. I think it also gets like Leech Seed. Yeah, it does. So this is just a really powerful, bulky grass type. Then there's Dugtrio. Dugtrio is cool. It's just, it hits hard, it hits fast, and it doesn't take a hit. And that's kind of all you need to know. Arena Trap is a really interesting ability that could be really, really good. And then these sand-based ones are interesting too, although there's no Tyranitar in this team, so like it would take some work. Or I guess Hippowdon is a sand setter too. It would take some work to get the sand going, but if you did, it would be super strong. I would expect to see something like Earth, or not Earth Power, but Earthquake, Rock Slide or Stone Edge, Sucker Punch, and Protect. You know, like that would work. Does it get Swords Dance? It doesn't. So it's just a moveset like that, like maybe with Life Orb. It just hits. It's only base 100 attack, I guess. It could be higher, but that's kind of all it needs because it's so fast. You can probably go Adamant in a lot of situations, and it's just a good offensive ground type. Here's Glacion. Glacion's interesting. It's pretty slow. I was looking at its speed calcs a little bit, but it's powerful. 130 special attack is a lot. I think it's the highest special attack on the team. It's coming from Glacion, which is really, really interesting. This thing isn't like too threatening to me. I'd be surprised if it came just because I have a lot of answers to it, but like, I don't know. It gets ice moves. That's pretty much it. It gets ice moves. It gets Shadow Ball. That's pretty much it. It gets Water Pulse. Interesting. I don't know if you'd run that. It's just an ice machine. It's a slow, kind of strangely bulky ice machine. Not even strangely. That 110 defense on an ice type with 65 HP feels like such a waste, but I'm not going to discount this. I think it's threatening. It does a lot of damage. Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is cool. The way I look at it is that it kind of does all the stuff that Hitmontop does, except it's way less bulky, it's way stronger, and it doesn't have Intimidate. So it's pretty useful. Unburden's a cool ability. Limber, if I was running paralysis hacks, could be really good. Reckless makes things stronger, like high jump kick. I could totally see this coming, or maybe not. I think people are not inclined to bring fighting types into me because of my Togekiss and my 2 psychic types, but Gentleman Garby brought Hariyama into me, so who knows? You know, all bets are off. You'd probably just run like a physical attacking thing here. You could run it supportive too because it gets fake out, but the problem is that it's not very bulky, right? It's going to go down to any physical hit, and like sure, special defense is at 110, but that HP is so low it like doesn't really matter. You'd run this thing offensively. 87 is an interesting speed tier. It's better than 80. It's just not as good as 90, you know? I love Venomoth. This was something I was considering picking up in my drafts personally, but it just didn't fit well with the team. But I think this thing is super underrated. Tinted Lens is really cool. Like you can just burst through stuff, and like its coverage isn't amazing, but you run like Bug Buzz, Sludge Bomb, probably Giga Drain or something. Like I think that's its best coverage, and like Quiver Dance. Look at that set. That's so fun. That's such a good time, especially like, you know, for the same logic that MANAPHY gets support through Raichu and Tangrowth doing redirection and fake out and stuff. You can do the same thing for Venomoth, and you can set this thing up and it can just run through stuff like with Bug Buzz and Sludge Bomb, especially in my team. Like these offensive moves are actually pretty good into what I've drafted, so I could totally see this coming. And then again, Tinted Lens, if it's not very effective, it deals more damage. So there's basically nothing that's not very effective when you're using Venomoth if you're running Tinted Lens. So it's just really cool. Last but not least is Lopunny. Lopunny is very interesting. I saw a set last week which had a Flame Orb with Klutz and Switcheroo. It was actually full support. I think it had Fake Tears and Fake Out. And then I forget the last move, but it was like a supportive move, right? And this is just like really fun and interesting, and I don't think it'll come to me. I don't think this Flame Orb does much when my team is so specially oriented, but it's still a support. Like maybe it has support options I'm not even really considering. Let's take a look. Oh, those are special moves, not support moves. Hee hee. I don't know. Maybe. It just gets a lot of stuff, you know? Entrainment's kind of fun, right? Yeah. I don't really expect to see this. That's my rundown of Krystal's team. Let's take a look at what I've decided to bring to beat it. This is what we're doing. We're bringing Magnezone. Magnezones come every week. I didn't use him last week against Garby, but he still showed up nonetheless. We're doing a pretty standard set. We're doing Modest Analytic, and we have a pretty good amount of special attack. This is a little less bulky than a lot of the Magnezones I've been running. And we're doing the key here is Discharge. I was saying that with the help from Raichu and the help from Tangrowth and me wanting to take out the key targets being like Manaphy and Moltres, I need to be able to get around redirection, and Discharge helps me do that. And Analytic just gives me a little bit of a boost. If, say, like Manaphy's going for Tail Glow and there's Rage Powder, I can smack it pretty hard and maybe paralyze it. So that's the idea here. It's pretty flexible in terms of speed. With that base 60 speed, if I end up with either Trick Room or Tailwind, which spoiler, I have both on this team, it can end up working out fine. It will serve its purpose. So that's what we're going to do there. I'm bringing Meganium, and I think I'm actually going to use Meganium this week because I think it's actually pretty good. I'm doing full bulk Calm, full special defense. All of the threats on this team that scare me are the special attackers, like Manaphy, potentially Dorachi, and like Moltres, Tangrowth, like everything, Raichu, everything that I don't want to face is a special attacker. So I'm just doing all out bulk on that end. We are doing Safeguard. I'm scared of Sleep Powder from Tangrowth, and if I'm clicking Discharge and like maybe I don't protect Meganium when they're on the field, I don't want them to get paralyzed. And also like maybe there's a Klutz Flame Orb shenanigan, right? So Safeguard helps there. That's pretty cool. Energy Ball is just the most consistent damage. I want a Giga Drain, but it has only 8 PP, which is just not enough. I feel like with how bulky this thing is, it's going to be on the field for a while. So I need something with more power points. And I'm bringing Ancient Power. Kind of because it's the only other good coverage move that it gets that's on the special side. I could run physical something, but then I would mess up I wouldn't mess up my investment. I could run Earthquake or something. I'm running Ancient Power. Part of why I'm doing that is because the two mons that threaten this thing the most are Moltres and Venomoth. And because they both double resist Energy Ball. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the chance to use Ancient Power against them, but maybe if I read a switch or something, or if I have speed control going, it can do a decent amount of damage. So, and then I'm just running Protect because I have leftovers and because Protect's a great move. This might be a little contradictory to the Safeguard, and I actually kind of need to test how it works because I'm not sure. But I'm doing Guts Flame Orb Swallow. This thing outspeeds their entire team, I believe. Yes, it does. It outspeeds the trio by 5 points, but I've toned it down to outspeed it by 1 point. Of course, they could bring Scarf or something, but this thing's awesome. It generally one-shots Tangrowth depending on its investment, and then Facade does huge damage to everything. There's no resists to normal or flying except for Dorachi, which is great, and I can just U-turn on that. So like nothing wants to take a Facade, nothing wants to take a Brave Bird. Pretty good matchup for Swallow here. I do have to get burnt for it to work, but that shouldn't be too hard. Again, I need to test how Safeguard interacts. I think if Safeguard goes up before Swallow's burnt, I don't think it will get burnt, but I just need to test it. U-turn just for pivoting, and Protect because it protects good, and if I need a turn to get my Flame Orb going, then that works. We're bringing Rhydon again. Rhydon did great for us last week. I have a lot of hope for it this week too. We're not doing Brave, we're doing Adamant, and we have a pretty bulky, pretty offensive spread here. Just offensive ground and rock moves. This will go really hard. I think like it hits everything. That combination hits everything neutrally, if not for super effective. And I have to say it's essential for Moltres, because like Magnezone for Moltres isn't quite enough. A Facade will do a lot to it if we get off an Ancient Power, sure, but like we need rock moves for sure. So I'm bringing Rock Slide and Drill Run and Earthquake because I have a lot of Protect. I have some Flyers here. I think there are good chances. And again, Earthquake is around that redirection that I'm concerned about, and Rock Slide does too. So I think spread moves are kind of my answer here. Lightning Rod's actually pretty useful here. I'd be immune to Discharge anyways, which is a nice synergy, but I need to be careful about using Thunderbolt if Rhydon's going to be on the field. But it helps Swallow, which is cool. Because Raichu's going to be here, and it protects me from stuff like Nuzzle. I already have Safeguard for that, but like if like Raichu's worthless when Rhydon's around, so I would be surprised if Raichu even showed up. I guess you could run Charm and make Rhydon really weak. That's probably the best set for Raichu, but anywho, I feel good about Rhydon. I think Rhydon's a good bring here. We're doing Life Orb just because we can. Another Lumberry Gallade set. We're doing Steadfast this week because there's no Dark types. And I think it's really unlikely that I get hit with a Dark move from any of these mons. Maybe a Sucker Punch from Dugtrio. That's like it. And I don't even know if Dugtrio's coming. I think this guy gets Sucker Punch too, but he'd probably bring Mach Punch. He doesn't get Sucker Punch. So I chose Steadfast just because, I mean, you know, Raichu is Fake Out. So there's a chance. But at the end of the day, I'm not really in it for my ability. I'm in it for the speed control. I think looking at Krystal's draft, it's very well rounded. It's very good. It has excellent type coverage. If it's missing one thing, in my opinion, regarding team building, is that it doesn't have any dramatic speed control. There's no Trick Room and there's no Tailwind. I don't believe Dorachi gets Trick Room. Oh, it does. Interesting. Well, either way, I have my own Trick Room, so I can work with that. And then I don't think Moltres gets Tailwind. I don't think anything gets Tailwind here. Glacion could go for Icy Wind, but yeah, it's just the Trick Room on Dorachi, and Dorachi hasn't even come to a battle yet. So I think I think I'm okay. The point that I'm trying to make is that speed control is going to be huge for this matchup for me. And I think like with Rhydon and Magnezone being really offensive, them either in Trick Room or Tailwind will let me go first, as long as they don't cancel it with their own Trick Room, etc. So I have Trick Room for that reason. Close Combat just because it hits hard and it's what I want to be clicking. And then Rock Slide helps with everything else that Close Combat doesn't hit. So Gallade just looks to be kind of supportive this week, pretty helpful. Wide Guard also helps me with Discharge and helps me with Earthquake. So there's a lot of utility here. One of the moves that concerns Gallade and Latios on this team is Dazzling Gleam coming from MANAPHY. And that's the only thing that MANAPHY can use to hit Gallade super effectively. And it's one of two moves that MANAPHY can use to hit Latios super effectively. And it just seems like a really good bringing to my team, bringing Dazzling Gleam. So Wide Guard helps with that a lot, but it also protects Latios, who's holding a Yachi Berry. So either a Fairy move with Gallade on the field using Wide Guard, or an Ice move into the Yachi Berry is going to be doing less damage, which is great. We aren't going super fast on Latios this week. So naturally Latios speed ties Raichu, but I decided with the amount of speed control that I'm doing with Trick Room here and Tailwind on Latios, I didn't see the point in speed tying Raichu really. Like it's gonna fake out and then it's gonna outspeed me once, you know, and then I get my Trick Room off or my Tailwind off, and that's even if Raichu comes. Like if Raichu doesn't come, then well, I guess there's Dugtrio, but I can't outspeed it anyways. So I toned down to just outspeed the base 100s, and I'm happy with that because it gives me a lot more bulk. So I think that's a good decision overall. I can't really afford to run Protect because without Shadow Ball, I can't really touch Dorachi, and I don't have a whole lot that deals with Dorachi very well except for Rhydon otherwise. So I think I need Shadow Ball. Between Psychic and Thunderbolt, I hit everything pretty hard. The only thing that doesn't really hit hard is Tangrowth, but Tangrowth's special defense is so low. I think just a same type attack bonus Psychic is going to do a ton of damage to it. So, and then there's Tailwind here. So these last two Psychic types are kind of my speed control. Magnezone, Rhydon, and Swellow are all just big offense. Swellows are not quite as adaptable as far as offense goes because it needs Tailwind, or it just doesn't want Trick Room. It needs either neutral speed or Tailwind to go really hard, but I still think it threatens the whole team just like immediately. I can lead with it and then it's just boom, you have to deal with Swellow, like figure it out. And then, yeah, these two are flexible, being Magnezone and Rhydon. They can work in either of these speed control options that I've made. And then Meganium is just a tank that ignores Tangrowth, which is important to me. It doesn't care about Rage Powder, so it can smack Manaphy with an Energy Ball through the Rage Powder. It doesn't care about Sleep, and then it protects its allies with Safeguard. So all in all, I'm excited about this team. I'm excited for this matchup. We are both currently undefeated in this league. We haven't dropped a set out of a best of 3. So this is going to be a good matchup. One of us has to lose it, so I'm looking forward to it. If you like this team, if you like what you see, if you like these videos, leave a like on the video, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And based on how I've been doing this upload schedule, the actual battle should upload tomorrow. So I hope to see you then.